What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our college football channel. We continue with our 2023 schedule preview and projected record series. Arizona State is up next, a team that had a disappointing year last year. New coach. It's probably going to be kind of a rebuild year this season. We'll see. But let's look at the schedule and see if the schedule is going to give them a chance to potentially improve their record this year. They were 3-9 last season. Again, very disappointing year for them. This was coming off of, we kind of thought Arizona State had arrived, and they looked like they were heading in the right direction. But again, it was kind of a disaster for them last year. They will open up 2023 with Southern Utah on Thursday night. That'll be a Thursday night of that first weekend on August 31st. Next week, they play Oklahoma State on September the 9th. Then it's Fresno State on the 16th and USC on the 23rd. So their first 4 games all at home. That's good news, but the bad news is you've got, Oklahoma State, USC. Fresno State's not going to be easy. So it's not like you got a bunch of easy games there, even though they are at home. Southern Utah, though, a game that Arizona State should be able to take care of. But the other 3 games are going to be tough. Then you go to September 30th. They'll go on the road for the first time. They go at Cal. And then on October the 7th, they're back home for Colorado. Then they go on the road to Washington on October 21st. Washington State at home on the 28th. So they do get a bye week between Colorado and Washington. So that, right there in the middle of the season, I guess that's a pretty good spot for it. They get Utah on November the 4th on the road. Then UCLA on the 11th, also on the road. So back-to-back road games there. Oregon on the 18th, and then close things out with Arizona on the 25th. So I tell you what, once they get to Washington, get past the bye week, those final 6 games, they are going to be tough. And it's very realistic that this team could go 0-6 in those final 6 games. So yes, a very tough end to the schedule. You look at who they play in the Pac-12. They play USC. They play Washington. They play Utah. And they play Oregon. So you're playing the 4 best teams, in my opinion, in the Pac-12. They also will play UCLA. They don't play Oregon State. That's the one positive, I guess, about this schedule. And they only have 4 road games. On the entire schedule, only 4 road games. So there are some positives here, but with Southern Utah being the only easy win, it's hard to see this team having a great year this year. It just is. It's going to be tough. Colorado, Cal, Arizona, can you win games like that? Fresno State, maybe there's a path to a bowl game, but I think it's going to be tough. We'll get to the projection here. This is the scale that we use. If it's a 50-50 game, it'll stay in the white. Less than 20, over 80. Those are games where I think the spread will be 20 or more points. 20-29, 71-80, games where I think the spread will be double digits. And then 30-39, 61-70. Those are games where I think the spread will be about a touchdown, 6, 7, 8 points in that range. So I think Southern Utah is the one easy win. You can pretty much guarantee that one. I mean, there are no guarantees, but you feel pretty confident that Arizona State should take care of that one. They'll be favored by 21, 24 points, somewhere in that range, in my opinion. And they should be able to get that win. But that's the only game that they're going to be a clear favorite in. It might be the only game that they're a favorite in all year. It's very possible. I think USC, Washington, Utah, Oregon, all games where they're going to be 17, 18-point underdogs, maybe more, maybe over 20. And if that's the case, these games would be in the red. It doesn't really matter for the projection because orange, red, they're going to be counted as losses regardless. And so it doesn't really matter. And anytime, when I do these projections, I'm trying to stay conservative with these projections. My predictions will come later, but this is just a projection. And again, it's always going to be conservative. Then I think you've got Oklahoma State, Washington State, and UCLA. These are games where I think Arizona State will clearly be an underdog, 6, 7, 8-point underdog in all 3 of these games. Maybe UCLA should even be in the orange because it's on the road. But yeah, I'm not going to say they have no chance in these 3, but they're going to be clear underdogs. And then that leaves you with 4 games. Fresno State, Cal, Colorado, and Arizona. 3 of these games are at home. But all 4 of these games, in my opinion, are I wouldn't say toss-ups, but I don't think there's going to be a huge spread in these games. Fresno State's probably a true toss-up. I mean, that's a pick 'em. Cal, probably favor Cal by a field goal because it's at Cal. Colorado is such a wild card. We don't really know what to expect there. Arizona, I think, will be favored but it is at Arizona State. It's a rivalry game, so I guess you never know, and I don't think the spread's going to be huge. So these are 4 games that are going to be tough, but winnable. I think there's a chance that Arizona State could win these games, and if you win those 4 games, you beat Southern Utah, then you only have to pull off one big upset, and that's how Arizona State could get to a bowl game, but the odds would say that's not going to happen. The projection for them is 4-8, so that's what they're projected to do. Again, you got 4 losses, you got 1 win, then you go through the rest of these games where they're going to be underdogs in 3 of them, 4 50-50 games. Maybe you win a couple of 50-50 games, you beat Southern Utah, pull off an upset somewhere, get to 4-8. It's possible they could do a little better than that, but again, they could seriously go 1-11 this year. They could go 2-10. That would not shock me, because I don't think this team's going to be great, and there aren't any easy wins, again, outside of Southern Utah. So it's probably going to be a pretty tough season for Arizona State. Again, our projection, 4-8 in 2023.